let me just quickly tell you how the Constitution itself has safeguarded an independent judiciary before I go to an impeachment. How have they done it? For example, Article 107(2) gives a security of tenure, meaning once you're appointed, you cannot be removed. Why? Because for this very reason, if after you're appointed you start not doing the things that a government of the day wanted you to do, a government has the danger of removing you. The Constitution says you can't do that. Once you're appointed except unless you're impeached. So an impeachment, or if you reach a retirement age, or if you're declared a lunatic or whatever, but other than that, in ordinary circumstances, you cannot be removed from office except by an impeachment. Then, Article 108, there's security remuneration. It is, remember the three branches of government, it is not the executive that pays your remuneration. It's a parliament, meaning the people, our elected representatives who decide on their remuneration, and it is paid by a consolidated budget, not even through a ministerial allocation. Why? Once again, to afford that independence. Then Article 112, all the lower courts are not administered once again by a ministry, by a judicial service commission made up of the Chief Justice and other judges. Once again, why? So that the judicial arm should remain independent. So now, in a removal from office, if you compare the people's power, the power that I spoke of when I started the lecture, as to how a judge, when it's removed, operates in our constitution, there was a lacuna. Now I'll come to it. Article 4A says that the legislative power, our powers to make laws, is exercised by Parliament. Article 107(2) says Parliament can bring a motion of impeachment. So if our elected representatives feel that one judge has been, say, caught singing in a nightclub somewhere or misbehaving somewhere, they can bring an impeachment. As our elected representatives, people exercising our legislative power, say this judge is not fit to hold office. They can do that. They have the right to do that. It is our power. Article 4B, executive power of the people shall be exercised by a president. How does that operate in impeachment? Comparison is Article 107(1). It is the executive president that appoints a judge and removes a judge. It's executive president. So our executive power exercised through a president, appoints a judge, removes a judge. Article 4C, judicial power of the people shall be exercised through courts and other institutions. How does that operate in impeachment? Article 107(3) says that Parliament shall by law provide for the manner in which, by law or standing order, provide for the manner in which a judge can be found guilty. That was a lacuna. There was no such procedure adopted. The Supreme Court of the country, which is the only court in the Constitution that is entitled to interpret the Constitution, has said that standing order 78A is unlawful. The standing order can't judge a judge because that doesn't give the procedure. It's not a judicial organ. Parliamentary Select Committee is not a judicial body. It has said so. Supreme Court of the country has said so. Court of Appeal, following on that, has given another decision saying the entire impeachment process is unlawful. But we have a situation where CJ 43 is removed, CJ 44 is appointed. So, in my opinion, we have a de jure Chief Justice and a de facto Chief Justice. We have Chief Justice in law, we have Chief Justice in fact. That is my humble opinion. How does this affect you? I asked you that question that I asked you earlier. So has your sovereign power then, the ones that you vested in three organs of government, been exercised in the manner that you wished it to be exercised? That's a question which I'm not going to give the answer. I have been asked by several corporates who I advise as a consultant. We have monthly meetings. As to, I say, can you please stay away from the camera? You know, our board is asking questions as to what you're doing. That's a cost that most lawyers pay, not just I. We do a lot of business with the government, and our board is questioning as to what our corporate law is doing on the road. But why did we do that? Is that question that I led you to? Because now when you have a dispute, after all this, where would you rather go? To the place exercising your judicial power or elsewhere? That's another question that I leave with you. And I leave with you a quote from a great man from our neighboring shores, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who said, despite the battalions that may be raised against you, he didn't say that, I said that in the picture, a small body of determined spirits fired by an unquenchable faith in their mission can alter the course of history. A small body of determined spirits fired by unquenchable faith in their mission can alter the course of history. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishma, for that very insightful speech. Ladies and gentlemen, Krishma was kind to readily take our invitation and grace this forum as guest speaker for today. And it is only suiting if we request Mr. Dennis Kruger, General Manager of Cinnamon Lakeside, to hand over a token of appreciation on behalf of our television, Macquarie and St. John's and Cinnamon Lakeside.